Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we're gonna continue reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 9, the most confidential knowledge. Text 5. Na chat matstani bhutani
न च मत्स्थानि भूतानि
pashyame yogam aishwaram
ईश्वरम्
bhuta brin na cha bhutasto
न च भूतसत्तो
amatma bhuta bhavana.
ममात्मा भूत
Voice is a bit breaking, yeah?
वो
Yeah, your voice is breaking a bit. Hare Krishna.
does not rest in me. Behold my mystic opulence. Although I am the maintainer of all living entities, and although I am everywhere, I am not a part of this cosmic manifestation. For myself is the very source of creation. The Lord says that everything is resting on Him. Mat Tani Sarva Bhutani. This should not be misunderstood. The Lord is not directly concerned with the maintenance and sustenance of this material manifestation. Sometimes we see a picture of Atlas holding the globe on his shoulders. He seems to be very tired, holding this great earthly planet. Such an image should not be entertained in connection with Krishna's upholding this created universe. He says that although everything is resting on him, he is aloof. The planetary systems are floating in space, and the space is the energy of the Supreme Lord. But he is different from space. He is differently situated. Therefore, the Lord says, although they are situated on my inconceivable energy as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I am aloof from them. This is the inconceivable opulence of the Lord. In the Nikurti, in the Nirukti Vedic dictionary, it is said, Yujyate Nena Durgatesu Karyeshu. The Supreme Lord is performing inconceivably wonderful pastimes, displaying his energy. His person is full of different potent energies, and his determination is itself actual fact. In this way, the personality of Godhead is to be understood. We may think of doing something, but there are so many impediments, and sometimes it is not possible to do as we like. But when Krishna wants to do something, simply by his willing, everything is performed so perfectly that one cannot imagine how it is being done. The Lord explains this fact, although he is the maintainer and sustainer of the entire material manifestation. He does not touch this material manifestation. Simply by his supreme will, everything is created, everything is sustained, everything is maintained, and everything is annihilated. There is no difference between his mind and himself, as there is a difference between ourselves and our present mind, because he is absolute spirit. Simultaneously, the Lord is present in everything, yet the common man cannot understand how he is also present personally. He is different from this material manifestation, yet everything is resting on him. This is explained here as Yogam Aishwaram, the mystic power of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
So Krishna is saying this creation, uh, this entire creation, it belongs to him. He is the maintainer of the living entities. He's omnipresent, present everywhere. But he's saying, I have not become this creation. He is the source of the creation, but he has not become the creation. For example, like a potter, by his energy, he creates the pot. But it doesn't mean he's become the pot. He just used his energy to create the pot. He doesn't become like the mother, she gives birth to the child. So the child also exists, the mother also exists, the father also exists. Similarly, material creation exists, is energy of Krishna, and Krishna also exists. Or as we say, a big businessman, he has created his big business empire with his energy, and the business exists, and he also exists. He's at home with his family. He's not become the business. So this is the point we need to understand, that Krishna has many different energies, and this material world is one of his energies. So Prabhupada is saying, sometimes we see Atlas, that he's holding the globe and he looks very tired, he's holding the earth. It's not that Krishna is doing that. It's not that when Krishna is saying that he's the maintainer, that he's like, this old man with a beard and so tired. No, Krishna is enjoying eternally in Golok Vrindavan. We see him playing with the gopas, with the gopis. So this entire cosmic manifestation is an energy of Krishna and is acting under Krishna's order. It's under Krishna's order that the planets are going in their orbit, the sun rises on time, sets on time. Everything is happening in a system. The system is created by Krishna. This is his inconceivable energy. It's not that there was once a big bang. There was nothing and then big bang. And then all the planets are created perfectly and they are moving about perfectly in orbit. And from the bang is created the life from the variety of trees and plants and animals. No. Or the creation it's created by Krishna. As in anything that we see, there is a creator. Or we see, who's the manufacturer of this? Who's the manufacturer of this mobile phone, laptop? Or who's painted the painting? Who is it? So similarly, who is the creator? It's Krishna. So when the painter is painting the painting, it's not that he's become the painting. He's using his energy and the materials. He does not become. So the Lord is existing and the creation is existing. This is his inconceivable energy. This is how we say God is omnipotent. So Krishna, simply by his willing, he can do. It's not that he is working very hard and he has to take all the earth and the fire and mix it together and labor very hard. No, simply by his willing, everything's happening. For us, no, we have to do, if we want something, we have to create something. Even if we have to cook, we have to go to the kitchen. First, we have to go market, buy the vegetables, cook. Then we'll create a dish. Krishna, simply by his willing, he's created this entire cosmic manifestation. He's the creator, he's the maintainer, and he also annihilates it. But it's not that he is touching it, it's just by his will everything's happening. He himself, he is in Golok Vrindavan. Krishna's body is transcendental. It's not material, it's transcendental. So there's no difference between Krishna's body and his mind and himself. He himself, his body, his mind is the same. He's on the absolute platform. We think, how can be happening? Because right now we are inside the body, so we have this body, we have this mind, and we ourselves are the soul. We have to understand, because we are inside this material body. Krishna's body is transcendental, spiritual, and he is present everywhere. How? In his Paramatma feature. As Paramatma, he has entered into every atom of the universe, into the heart of every living entity. This is Krishna's Paramatma feature. And he himself, Krishna personally, he is in Golok Vrindavan, in the spiritual world, which is Golok Vrindavan is the highest planet in the spiritual sky. Any questions? Comments? Let's continue. Yatha kasha sthito nityam.
Yathakasha sthito nityam.
Vayu sarvatra go mahan.
Vayu sarvatra go mahan.
Tatha sarvani bhutani.
Tatha sarvani bhutani.
Matsthaniti upadharaya.
Matasthaniti upadharaya. Translation. Understand that as the mighty wind blowing everywhere rests always in the sky, all created beings rest in me. For the ordinary person, it is almost inconceivable how the huge material creation is resting in him. But the Lord is giving an example which may help us to understand. The sky may be the biggest manifestation we can conceive, and in the sky, the wind or air is the biggest manifestation in the cosmic world. The movement of the air influences the movements of everything. But although the wind is great, it is still situated within the sky. The wind is not beyond the sky. Similarly, all the wonderful cosmic manifestations are existing by the supreme will of God, and all of them are subordinate to that supreme will. As we generally say, not a blade of grass moves without the will of the supreme personality of Godhead. Thus, everything is moving under His will, by His will. Everything is being created, everything is being maintained, and everything is being annihilated. Still, He is aloof from everything, as the sky is always aloof from the activities of the wind. In the Upanishads, it is stated, Yat Vishabhata Pavate. It is out of the fear of the Supreme Lord that the wind is blowing. Taittiriya Upanishad. In the Bradhanaranyaka Upanishad, it is stated, Etasya va aksharasaya prasanne gargi surya chandramasau vidhirtau tish- tishdhata. Etasya va aksharasya prasasane gargi dvaj dev apritavaya vidhirtau tishdhata. By the supreme order under the superintendence intendence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the moon, sun, and the other great planets are moving. In the Brahma Samhita also it is stated, Yak Chakshur Esha Savita Sakala Grahanam Raja Samasta Sura Murtir Ashesha Teja Yas Ya Nyajay Brahmati Sambrata Kala Chakro Govindam Adi Purusham Tam Aham Bhajami. This is a description of the movement of the sun. It is said that the sun is considered to be one of the eyes of the Supreme Lord and that it has immense potency to diffuse heat and light. Still, it is moving on its prescribed orbit by the order and the supreme will of Govinda. So, from the Vedic literature, we can find evidence that this material manifestation, which appears to us to be very wonderful and great, is under the complete control of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This will be further explained in the later verse of this chapter.
So Krishna is giving an example how we can understand. He's saying that the wind is there, is blowing everywhere, yet it's within the sky. It doesn't go beyond the sky. So the creation is there, it's everywhere, but it's all Krishna's energy. It's controlled, it's maintained by Krishna. There's nothing or no one that does not belong to Krishna. that does not have a relationship with Krishna. So that he wants us to understand that he is an individual. He is the supreme personality of Godhead, and this creation, he has created it, but he's not become the creation. The creation is his energy. So the wind, the sky, and everything is happening by his supreme will. By his will, the wind is blowing, and it is said, not a blade of grass moves without the will of the Supreme Lord. So under his will, everything is being created, maintained, and annihilated. But he himself, he's aloof from the creation. He's just made the system. The system is going on perfectly as he has made it. So the Taittiriya Upanishad is saying that it is out of fear. Why does the wind blow? Why does it blow? We may give some scientific term to it, but Taittiriya Upanishad says it is out of fear of the Supreme Lord. And Aranakya Upanishad is saying that why are the sun, moon, all the other planets, why are they moving in this order? It's by the order of the Supreme Lord. That's the reason they are moving around in this way. And Lord Brahma in his Brahma Samhita, the prayers sung by Lord Brahma, and he is saying that the sun is considered to be one of the eyes of the Supreme Lord. And it's moving about only by the will of Govinda. So this entire material creation is under the control of God, under the Supreme Lord, under his control. It's not that things are randomly happening, that randomly the creation happened, randomly the sun is created out of a big bang. No, there is this entire system. It's all happening under the will of God. Sarva Bhutani Kaunteya
Sarvabhutani Kaunteya
Prakritim Yanti Mamikam
Prakritim yanti mamikam.
Kalpashaye Punastani
Kalpasya punastani.
Kalpado Visrajamyaham.
Kalpado vichami aham. Translation. O son of Kunti, at the end of the millennium, all material manifestations enter into my nature, and at the beginning of another millennium, by my potency, I create them again. The creation, maintenance, and annihilation of this material cosmic manifestation are completely dependent on the supreme will of the personality of Godhead. At the end of the millennium means at the death of Brahma. Brahma lived for 100 years, and his one day is calculated at 400, I don't know, million. I cannot get that in this number.
This would be what? 4,300,000,000.
Oh, 4
4
billion.
billion
Okay.
300,000,000.
Okay, 4,300,000,000 of our earthly years. His night is of the same duration. His month consists of 30 such days and nights, and his year of 12 months. After 100 such years, when Brahma dies, the devastation or annihilation takes place. This means that the energy manifested by the Supreme Lord is again wound up in himself. Then again, when there is a need to manifest the cosmetic world, it is done by his will. Bahu Shyam. Although I am one, I shall become many. This is the Vedic aphorism. Chandogya Upanishad. He expands himself in this material energy, and the whole cosmic manifestation again takes place.
So it is under Krishna's will that at a certain time there is creation, at a certain time there is destruction. It's completely under his control. So at the end of the millennium means when Lord Brahma dies. Yes, Lord Brahma also dies. He's the most powerful living entity in this universe. And even he has to die when he is 100 years old. Of course, according to human calculation, he lives for like 3 trillion, uh, 300 trillion, some years, some billion years. And we can see his 12 hours. His 12 hours is our 4,300,000,000 years. I mean, if you go to think about it, it's just like a number. It's so long. And that's only his 12 days. And he lives as much for his night. His night is as long as this. And then his he also has a month. 30 of these days make 1 month, and then there are 12 months in a year, and like this he lives for 100 years, but after 100 years he dies. And when Lord Brahma dies, the entire universe is collapsed. And this is the order which is created by Krishna. And then again, when the time for creation happens, again Krishna puts forth all the universes, Lord Brahma is created, and then the creation happens again. So again and again, this cycle is happening, all under Krishna's will. Prakritim swam avashtabhya
प्रकृतिं स्वाम् अवस्थाभ्य
visrajami punah punah
Vitrajami punha punha
bhuta gramam imam kritsnam
bhuta gramam imam krishnam
avasham prakritir vashat.
avasam prakrite vashat. Translation: the whole cosmic order is under me. Under my will, it is automatically manifested again and again, and under my will, it is annihilated at the end. This material world is a manifestation of the inferior energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This has already been explained several times. At the creation, the material energy is let loose as the Mahat Tattva, into which the Lord, as his first Purusha incarnation, Mahavishnu, enters. He lies within the causal ocean and breathes out innumerable universes, and into each universe the Lord again enters as Garbhodakshai Vishnu. Each universe is in that way created. He still further manifests himself as the Shirodakai Shai Vishnu, and that Vishnu enters into everything, even into the minute atoms. This fact is explained here. He enters into everything. Now, as far as the living entities are concerned, they are impregnated into this material nature, and as a result of their past deeds, they take different positions. Thus, the activities of this material world begin. The activities of the different species of living beings are begun from the very moment of the creation. It is not that all is evolved. The different species of life are created immediately along with the universe. Men, animals, beasts, birds, everything is simultaneously created, because whatever desire the living entities had at the last annihilation are again manifested. It is clearly indicated here by the word avasham that the living entities have nothing to do with this process. The state of being in their past life, in the past creation, is simply manifested again. And all this is done simply by His will. This is the inconceivable potency of the Supreme Personality of God. And after creating different species of life, He has no connection with them. The creation takes place to accommodate the inclinations of the various living entities, and so the Lord does not become involved with it.
Krishna is saying, this material world is working under his order. This material energy is working under his control. And it is his will that there is creation, then it stays for some time, and then it is destroyed. He's saying it is my will that the creation happens, it stays, again it is destroyed. And all this is happening under Krishna's control. So when we say the universal energy, then who does this energy belong to? Belongs to Krishna. He's saying this, she's my energy, she's working under my control. Material energy is not independent. The universe, as we say, the universe has some energy, the universe has the power. Yes, the universe is the energy, but who is the energetic? Who does it belong to? Belongs to Krishna. And this energy, this material energy, is inferior. It's called the inferior energy. Why is it called inferior? It's called inferior because it's not conscious. You know, the earth, water, air, fire, ether, these elements are not conscious. If we see whatever is created in this world is just a combination of these elements, and of course, we, the spirit soul, are inside. So these material elements, they are not conscious. That's why it's called Krishna's inferior energy. So how the creation happens is very detailed explained in Srimad Bhagavatam, especially in the first 3 cantos, is repeatedly mentioned there. Srila Prabhupada is giving us in a very concise way that Mahavishnu first lies down in the Karana ocean, causal ocean. Mahavishnu is an expansion of Krishna. So Krishna, he expands as Mahavishnu for the case, for the cause of this creation. So Mahavishnu lies down on the causal ocean, and in one corner there is this Mahatattva, material energy. And Mahavishnu glances at this material energy and this Mahatattva. And with the agitation of his glance, everything begins. The creation begins. All the living entities, we, the souls, we are put inside these universes by Mahavishnu. All these universes come out from the pores of his body. He breathes out, all the universes come out. When he breathes in, the destruction happens and annihilation happens. All the universes again enter his body. So when he breathes out, all these universes are created. Then he enters into each and every universe as Garbhodakshai Vishnu. And then from this Garbhodakshai Vishnu, the navel of this Garbhodakshai Vishnu, Lord Brahma is created. And then Lord Brahma does the function of the secondary creation, that he gives shape. The elements are all created by Krishna: earth, water, air, fire, ether, mind, intelligence, false ego. All the elements are created by Krishna. We living entities are put inside the universe by Krishna. And then Lord Brahma, he does the work of secondary creation, which is to give different shapes to the different living entities. Just like the potter, he has the earth, he has the clay. He just gives the shape to the clay. So then Garbhodakshai Vishnu is there, and then Garbhodakshai Vishnu expands further. He enters into, he expands as Shirodakshai Vishnu. It is this Shirodakshai Vishnu who is the Paramatma. And he enters into every atom of the universe and also in the heart of every living entity. It is this Shirodakshai Vishnu that whenever there is disturbance in the law and order of the universe that Lord Brahma is not able to solve, then he approaches this Kshirodakshai Vishnu, who lives on Shweta Dweep in the ocean of milk. And Brahmaji many times can't even see the Lord. They can only hear him. Sometimes they may be able to see him, but because if they're approaching him for some problem, then sometimes they can't see him. They just hear what he says. So this is how he is the Paramatma. He is entering into every atom of this universe, is maintaining everything. Because Krishna has entered into every atom of the universe, everything can have its shape. We say the law of gravity, but who is the lawmaker? Who has created this law of gravity? It's Krishna, it's God. So we, the living entities, we are put inside this material nature. And then based on our past karma, our desires, we are given different bodies in different universes and different species of life. And that's how the activity begins. It's not that all the species are not created at one time. No, all the species are created at one time. So whatever because the annihilation happens. Then after the annihilation, the creation happens again. So during the annihilation, all the living entities are sleeping in the body of Mahavishnu. And then when the creation happens, again, based on the karma, based on the desires, we are given different bodies, trees, plants, animals, birds, human beings, demigods. They created at the same time. And then it's like, in the night we sleep. In the sleep we forget everything. In the morning, we wake up in the same body. So that is our night sleep. Then death is what? That we wake up, we find ourselves in another body. And then when this annihilation happens, we sleep for a very, very long time in the body of Mahavishnu. And then when the creation happens, we are again given different bodies. And based on our desires, we have these bodies. Based on our karma, we have the body. Again, we do this activity. Again, we get entangled in this process of action and reaction. We have desires, we do certain activities, we get implicated, we get reactions. Then to suffer or enjoy the reaction, we keep taking birth and death. All this is happening under Krishna's will. So one may say, why does it happen? Why is the creation happening? It's because of our desires. That's the reason we are put here in the material world. We have a desire to enjoy the material world. So Krishna accommodates our desires. He facilitates the fulfillment of our desires. That's the reason we are here in the material world. That's the reason Krishna creates the material world. Any questions or comments?
No.
So Krishna, he is not responsible for our desires. Our desires are our desires, and the way we act, then we get the reaction. So Krishna is not responsible for our reactions or our desires because they are our desires. Because someone may say, oh, I'm suffering because Krishna has made me suffer. No, it's our desires, it's our responsibility. He simply created this creation because it's our desire to enjoy. And he loves us unconditionally. And so that's the reason he lets us come here. But of course, the creation is a chance given to us to help us understand that, oh, we are not the body, we are the spirit soul. This material world is not our real home. We need to go back home, back to Godhead, back to Golok Vrindavan, in the spiritual sky. And the process that's given to us in this age of Kali is chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So we are all encouraged to hear from Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita and chant the Hare Krishna mantra. Nacham mam tani karmani
न च मां तानि कर्माणि
nibadhananti dhananjaya
Nibhadanti Dhananjaya.
udasina vadasinam
Udaasina vad asinam.
asaktam teshu karmasu.
Ashaktam teshu karmashu. Translation. O Dhananjaya, all this work cannot bind me. I am ever detached from all these material activities, seated as though neutral. One should not think in this connection that the Supreme Personality of Godhead had no engagement. In his spiritual world, he is always engaged. In the Brahma Samhita, it is stated, Atma Ramasya Tasyati Prakritiya Na Samadgama. He is always involved in his eternal, blissful spiritual activities, but he had nothing to do with these material activities. Material activities are being carried on by his different potencies. The Lord is always neutral in the material activities of the created world. This neutrality is mentioned here with the word Udashina. But although he has control over every minute detail of material activities, he is sitting as if neutral. The example can be given of a high court judge sitting on his bench. By his order, so many things are happening. Someone is being hanged, someone is being put into jail, someone is awarded a huge amount of wealth, but still he is neutral. He has nothing to do with all that gain and loss. Similarly, the Lord is always neutral, although he has his hand in every sphere of activity. In the Vedanta Sutra, it is stated, Vaishamya Nirgranya Na. He is not situated in the dualities of the material world. He is transcendental to these dualities, nor is he attached to the creation and annihilation of this material world. The living entities take their different forms in the various species of life according to their past deeds, and the Lord doesn't interfere with them.
So one may think that, oh, Krishna gets implicated in the law of karma. He's doing all this. No, no, Krishna does not. The material energy belongs to him. His body is not material. His body is transcendental. We get implicated in the law of karma because we are inside this material body. Krishna, his form is transcendental, spiritual. So, and what is he doing in the spiritual world? He's with his cows, he's with the gopas, the gopis, the birds. So he has his spiritual, blissful activities which are eternal in the spiritual world. Personally, this is what he's doing. This material world is his energy and it's acting under his order. He's not personally doing anything in this material world. His personal activities are in Golok Vrindavan. Just like Prabhupada is giving here. The High Court judge, someone is being hanged, someone is put in jail, somebody is given wealth, but he has nothing to do with all this. He's just because he's in that position, that's why he's doing it. So Krishna, everything is happening by his material energy here in this material world. He does not get implicated in all this. It's like, the prison. When the prisoner is put inside the prison, he is subjected to the laws of prison. He cannot come and go as he likes, and he has to follow the rules. But when the president enters the prison, he's not subjected to the laws. It's not that he's forced to come and that he cannot leave. No, he came by his own will. He's just come to look around. So the laws of the prison don't apply on him. Similarly, the laws of the material world don't apply to Krishna. He's transcendental. Yeah. And Krishna does not interfere in our free will. We have a free will. Krishna does not interfere in that. And what is actually our free will? Our free will is either we choose Krishna or we choose to go away from Krishna. Then when we choose Krishna, the spiritual energy helps us. When we go choose away from Krishna, material energy helps us. Then we get implicated in the law of karma. And Krishna has nothing to do with that. He does not interfere in our free will. Mayadhyakshena prakriti
Prakriti
suyate sacharacharam
Suyate Shakaracharam
hetu nanena kaunteya
Hetu Nanena Kaunteya
jagat viparivartate.
Jagat Viparivartate. Translation. This material nature, which is one of my energies, is working under my direction. O son of Kunti, producing all moving and non-moving beings, under its rule this manifestation is created and annihilated again and again. It is clearly stated here that the Supreme Lord, although aloof from all the activities of the material world, remains the Supreme Director. The Supreme Lord is the Supreme Will and the background of this material manifestation, but the management is being conducted by material nature. Krishna also states in Bhagavad Gita that of all the living entities in different forms and species, I am the father. The father gives seeds to the womb of the mother for the child, and similarly, the Supreme Lord, by his mere glance, injects all the living entities into the womb of material nature, and they come out in their different forms and species according to their last desires and activities. All these living entities, although born under the glance of the Supreme Lord, take their different bodies according to their past deeds and desires. So the Lord is not directly attached to the material creation. He simply glances over material nature. Material nature is thus activated and everything is created immediately. Because he glances over material nature, there is undoubtedly activity on the part of the Supreme Lord, but he has nothing to do with the manifestation of the material world directly. This example is given in the Smriti. When there is a fragrant flower before someone, the fragrance is touched by the smelling power of the person, yet the smelling and the flower are detached from one another. There is a similar connection between the material world and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Actually, he has nothing to do with this material world, but he creates by his glance and ordains. In summary, material nature without the superintendence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot do anything. Yet the Supreme Personality is detached from all material activities.
Oh. Krishna is saying this material nature is one of his energies. It's not that he has no other energies, and this material nature is this only energy. No, it's one of his energies. When you're saying God is omnipotent, means he has many, many potencies. One of his potency is this material energy. And whose order she's following? She's working under my direction, he says. So as we say the universal laws, or we say, what do we say? The energy, material energy. Whose order is she following? She's following Krishna's order. So this creation, maintenance, it's all happening under Krishna's order. He's aloof from it. He does not personally involve himself in the creation. He creates and then he sets the system. We can see like how a big businessman, he may set the system in his company. This department will do this department will do this department will do this, and everyone is doing their work. But it's working under the order of the boss. It's not that the boss has to keep on doing everything. No. He set the system, the people are working, they're doing their jobs. Same Krishna. So if a tiny living entity can have this kind of power and organization, what to speak of Krishna? He's the Supreme Lord. So he puts us, the living entities, inside this material nature. When he glances at the material nature, he puts us, we are the souls. He puts us in this material nature. Then we get particular body based on what? Why different souls get different bodies? Somebody get body of human being, somebody will get body of fish or dog or tiger. It's not that there is lucky draw happening or stone, paper, scissors, something. No, it's based on our desires and our past karma. At the time of annihilation, what was our desires, what was our karmic account. Based on that, we get this new bodies in which we act again. So Krishna, he is not concerned directly with the material world. He personally does not associate with the material world. Yes, he's omnipresent by the Paramatma feature, by the Brahman feature, but he himself is in Golok Vrindavan, engaging in his spiritual, blissful activities. He himself is in the spiritual sky. The Smriti is giving the example that there's a flower and then there is a smelling power. By the smelling power, one can smell the flower. So the smelling and the flower, it doesn't mean that they become one. No, the smelling is also there, the flower is also there, both are there. So this is the connection that is being given. So everything is happening under the will of Krishna, under his superintendence. Mayadhyakshena. He's saying, I'm watching. So it's happening under his will, but he is completely independent of this material world. He's detached from this material. Is that okay?
Yes.
This is something. So we'll stop here for today and we'll begin with 9-11 tomorrow. Chapter 9,
Okay.
text 11 will be tomorrow. Let's stop here. Thank you so much for listening in and joining in. Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki